Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Superintendent Davis and Board Trustees, and thank all of you for providing us some time to talk about this. I can see folks already starting to fall asleep. I'm on what my wife calls the state superintendent's vacation, and that used to look like the family would go on vacation and I would participate by text and photos, but now it's improving. I took actually the advice of Superintendent Davis, I think a year ago on this stage, where she said, take care of yourself. And so I've tried to ensure that I block off and wall off vacation time, except for today, which is having the honor of sharing some time with you is critically important and worth taking a step out of the family vacation time at the beach to enjoy the beach setting here with you. I'll open with a couple of thanks, and then I'll talk a little bit about the framework and then turn it over to the real expert, Russ Kaglevitz at the department. The first thank you is just as a father. I have two kids, Julia and Brooke, in the Washoe County School District, and I could not be happier. And I want to thank you for providing to them, from Superintendent Davis and the trustees all the way through to Superintendent Loft and her team, a safe environment to learn and high standards to achieve. It's incredibly grateful as a dad to have that. And the second note of appreciation and thanks is with regard to your efforts and leadership around social emotional learning. You are, whether you like it or not, recognized nationally for the work that you're doing here. And I happen to sit on the National Commission for the Social, Emotional, and Academic Development led by the Aspen Institute. I'm just sitting in for the governor, and I'm participating with Trish on that commission, and they'll be here in November. And so it's an honor that you all should be proudful and prideful of, that you're being recognized as a district who's putting the work into the schools to support kids and their social emotional as well as their academic development. So incredible appreciation for you there. It feels like 7 years ago, but not even almost a year ago, we had a new federal law passed. The Every Student Succeeds Act passed just at the sort of the closing of the Obama administration. And we had a wonderful opportunity, I felt, as states. Whether or not you believe that the new federal law truly does hand the keys to the states to lead their initiatives under the federal rules, we can have that discussion later. But what we saw was an opportunity for alignment. We saw from the state board, from the governor, all the way through to our local districts, an opportunity to align and place the new federal law in service to Nevada's priorities. So we entered into this work around the development of a new sort of federal plan, and if you're familiar with how these things work, the state develops this big federal plan that encompasses a lot of areas in addition to the NSPF, which we'll talk about a little bit more today, and of course over August, but a broad plan to the feds. And so when working with the state board as we began to develop that plan, under the framework of placing it in service to Nevada's priorities, the state board concurrently adopted a strategic plan. And that strategic plan has the ambitious goal, much like your 90 and 20, to be the fastest improving state in the nation. A goal for Nevada to be the fastest improving state in the nation. And I'm absolutely convinced we can do it. I can demonstrate empirically, and I've asked Russ and his team ad nauseum to continue to say why we couldn't do this empirically, but we can. We already have dramatic proof points around fourth in the nation and fastest improving graduation rates. We only have 3 more states to leap over. We've been recognized nationally for our science achievement on NAEP. We are recognized nationally on NAEP performance for English learners. It's all there. I'm incredibly optimistic that we can, in fact, make the goal. And like your superintendent, willing to adopt an audacious goal, knowing that there'll be plenty of naysayers and plenty of folks who will be the first to press that, oh, we failed short. We fell short. So under the Every Student Succeeds Act plan, in alignment with the state's strategic plan to be the fastest improving state in the nation, includes the new framework. It's been a couple of years since we've established a new star rating system for our elementary, middle, and high schools, and now for our alternative schools. Sometimes I forget our alternative schools as subject to the NSPF or alternative NSPF under some new legislation in 2015. So we had a wonderful opportunity. The process that we went through in order to develop this, we had a number of work groups who all worked on specific questions and made recommendations to an advisory group, a statewide advisory group. That statewide advisory group, we had, I think, initially thought we would get it done in 7 or so meetings. It went close to 15 meetings with the advisory group. For each work group recommendation, as the work groups got into the details around Title I or Title IV, they made recommendations and they went up to the advisory group. I also weighed in on the recommendations, some of which I said, this is really ambitious and not really feasible at this time. I appreciated the advisory group who continued to press me and said, well, no, actually we can do this, Steve. And so we're going to move this recommendation forward. So we had a really engaging conversation with a diverse set of individuals across the state that served on the advisory group and spent a lot of time adjudicating the recommendations and ultimately making some final recommendations. Today, this morning, Deputy Superintendent Barley just submitted the final revision of our ESSA plan. We've been going back and forth with USAID, and we anticipate approval in mid-August. So we anticipate approval in mid-August. So with that general introduction, I'm going to turn it over to Russ. And Russ is going to, I think each of you have a document in your agenda. That sort of is a, I don't know, four-pager. As we try to work through the communications on this and help appreciate for you all what may be different and what's changing, and know that we have a commitment throughout August and beyond. We hope to be invited to some of your focus groups or your sit and learns or whatever you call them, that we can sit with you and help you appreciate how you can better utilize this framework for using data to improve academic outcomes for kids. So I'll turn it over to Russ.
Thank you, Dr. Canavero and Washoe County School District for the invitation. This is kind of different for me. I'm a Reed High alum. Where are the Raiders at here? All right, very good, very good. I also have a child here in the Washoe County School District. I got a vested interest in what you guys do. So this is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure there are probably some of my former teachers in the room here. I know some people that I've worked with. I got my start in education here in Washoe County School District, so lots of connections for me. As said, my name is Russ Keglevitz. I'm the Assistant Director at the Nevada Department of Education over accountability. My primary responsibilities are with state and federal reporting to include the Nevada School Performance Framework. So you have the handouts there, and I'll let those stand for themselves. I'm prepared to tell you today a little bit about what is different from the ratings. You've heard now a few times, it's been a while since we've run star ratings in the state, and in light of the new federal law, it's different. It's different now than it was back then, and I would like to tell you some of the ways in which it is different. Let's start with elementary schools. So in elementary schools, we still will measure student proficiency. Proficiency is about a 25% proportion of the school accountability system, but it will include third grade reading. It will call it out separately from the rest of the performance measures for proficiency for that grade level. This is in alignment with the Read by 3 initiatives. English language proficiency is also a new measure in elementary schools. This is a growth to target measure. So this is I know that Washoe County is very familiar with the student growth percentile model. It is the student growth percentile model. It is growth to target. Are these kids on track to achieving the English language proficiency exit standards? Additionally, you'll see chronic absenteeism. Some of you will recall in the previous model that there was a average daily attendance. Chronic absenteeism is well researched and proven to be a better indicator of school performance. That will be in there. And then beginning in 2018, we will include science in the proficiency measures. We would have liked to include it in this year, but because of the changes from the next generation science standards, that assessment is undergoing a standard setting, and the results won't be ready for the accountability system in 2017, but it will be there in 2018. Moving on now to middle school. The end-of-course assessments were available to 8th graders in mathematics in middle school this last year, and so in the proficiency measures, we will include performance on the end-of-course assessment for those middle school students. Also beginning in 2018, science will be included in middle schools. There is a Nevada Administrative Code, 389.445. This is a middle school matriculation requirement. So some of you, the middle school principals here probably know that there are some standards, some core content that middle school students must pass in order to matriculate onto high school. We go out and we ask the local education agencies what percentage of your students are meeting those matriculation requirements, and it's going to be included in the accountability system. Additionally, academic learning plans are required in middle school. Between the Nevada Administrative Code and the academic learning plans, we have a state goal that is around readiness for high school. Those two measures are in support of our readiness for high school goals. And then additionally, chronic absenteeism in high schools, or in middle schools. High school is different in a number of ways. We have, again, science. We had growth in high schools in the past. That was the student growth percentile model carried over from the 8th grade performance all the way to the 10th grade. Because of the change in the assessment structure since the last time we ran the rating system, growth is no longer something that we can really bring into the system. Also, talking with stakeholders, high school's the finish line. So we're instead of focusing on growth, we'll focus on proficiency there. English language proficiency also in high schools. We'll include the 5-year adjusted cohort graduation rate for high schools this year. 9th and 10th grade credit sufficiency. In the old model, we focused on 9th grade credit deficiency. We found a gap. We weren't looking much at those 10th graders. This is also sort of a matriculation idea here. How are we doing on our 9th and 10th graders? And we're looking at how many of those are credit sufficient by the end of the 10th grade. The board adopted a couple of different cuts for the end-of-course exam. Level 2, 3, or 4 was considered sufficient for the purposes of meeting graduation requirements back when those cuts were adopted. Levels 3 and 4 were college and career readiness cuts. We'll measure the percentage of students meeting the college and career readiness cuts in high schools. Academic learning plans, again, carry forward from middle school. Chronic absenteeism, and I heard Superintendent Davis talk a little bit about Assembly Bill 7 earlier. There is the high school endorsement concept that's baked into there. We would like to measure the percentage of students achieving in those endorsement lanes once the language is established through the regulatory process that we're engaged in right now. So again, thanks for the invitation. This is really cool for me to talk to my old teachers again. And stay tuned for some webinars that the department will be putting out in the next couple of months. We'll be inviting administrators to hear a little bit more and ask some questions. Thank you.
Okay, so do we hand out the quiz now, Ben, or a little later? Okay. There's a lot here to unpack and a lot of discussion that we look forward to having, and we will continue to work with your district leadership to dig into some of the details. I want to just mention a couple of areas that I'm proud of, and I believe if you are kind of a policy wonky kind of person like myself, when you look at the national groups that are reviewing our plans, what they're saying. One surprise feedback that we received, I think it was from the Bellwether analysis, was that that equity wasn't there. Like they didn't see the equity in our plan that they would have expected, which was really surprising to me, and likely just because of the way that our plan was submitted. As you can imagine, the Trump administration, the messages we're getting, and the smooth operation of the federal bureaucracy isn't quite there. We still decided to submit the plan using the former template, not the new template that they had asked folks to use. Anyway, I wanted to say one of the points of pride with regard to our plan is the clear lens of equity. And I think what you'll see, and that's causing some challenges for us as well, but it's the right work, is disaggregating subgroups into more and more clarity. And that was really from the advisory group, where many of the members of the advisory group didn't quite see their children in the framework at a sufficient level. So that's one area. The other area of pride I'm going to mention, and we may not be there yet on this, but is the school climate bonus. I think we value the leadership that the Washoe County School District has put down, and the leadership that you have around social, emotional, and academic development for our kids. We really wrestled with how do you create a framework that has all of the need for and the demand for rigor and validity and comparability with the school climate surveys that are a bit disparate across the state. So we think we've found a decent landing place here, which is a bonus, not necessarily baked into the 100-point, but a bonus system for schools, and it largely revolves around participation, something that we can capture, and obviously we would hope that that participation then of course drives some particular action. So again, we look forward to working with your district's leadership and with you in the coming months to help you get into greater detail about each of the components that Russ worked through. And on behalf of the governor and the State Board of Education, thank you. Congratulations to the new leaders in our schools and support teams. Thank you so much for the work that you do on behalf of all of our kids across the state. So thank you.